Good day, students. Welcome to this subject, Social Studies, Grade 9A and 9B, with your teacher here, Miss MJ. This video will serve as a recap makeup class, especially for the students who weren't able to join our Google Meet class. Let's proceed to our online learning discussion now. So class, before we proceed to our online learning discussion, I would like us to have a short recap or review of the last topics that we have discussed, which were about grid and compass. So grid. Grid is a pattern of horizontal and vertical lines, usually forming squares. Compass. What is a compass? A compass is a magnetized needle. When allowed to move freely, points in the direction of magnetic north. Class, the objectives of our lesson for today are the following. Number 1, students must be able to know about geographical devices, and students must be able to know about GPS and GIS. So class, at the end of our online learning discussion, I expect that you can already identify and name geographical devices, and you already can differentiate what is GPS to GIS. So class, our topic for today are about geographical devices, GPS, and GIS. And these are the words to learn or vocabulary words that can help us better understand our topic for today. Please repeat after me so you can still practice your reading skills and your speaking skills even if you are just at home. Are you ready now? Let's start reading. Number 1, Global Positioning System. Number 2, Geographic Information System. Number 3, Geographical Device. Number 4, Satellite. And number 5, Data. Now let's read the meaning of these words and briefly explain them one by one. What is GPS? GPS stands for Global Positioning System. It is the only system today able to show you your exact position on the Earth anytime, in any weather, anywhere. The three parts of GPS are satellites, receivers, and software. The second word is Geographic Information System. What is GIS? A Geographic Information System, or GIS, is a system designed to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, manage, and present all types of geographical data, like maps, data, tools, and computers. The third word is geographical device. What do you mean by device? Device is an object or a piece of equipment that has been designed to do a particular job. Number 4 is satellite. A satellite is an artificial body placed in orbit around the Earth or another planet in order to collect information or for communication. And the last word that we have is data. What does data mean? It means factual information used as a basis for reasoning, discussion, calculation, publishing, or decision making. So these are the 5 words that can help us better understand our topic for today. Let's read again from numbers 1 to 5. Global Positioning System, Geographic Information System, Geographical Device, Satellite, and Data.
What is a device? A device is something that we adapted or created for a specific purpose. When hearing the word device, most of us think of electronic or mechanical equipment. The term device may also refer to a way, method, or plan with an aim, as in writing to your local lawmaker or member of parliament is a popular device for expressing dissent. In the world of IT, a device is an item of hardware or equipment in a computer system that has computing functions. The device can provide output or input into the computer or both. Your laptop speaker is an example of a device, as is your printer, microphone, disk drive, modem, and mouse. Device driver. In computing, a device driver converts data in the form of general commands into a language that a piece of equipment understands. We also call it a hardware driver or simply driver. It is, in effect, a translator for devices. Without drivers, your computer would not be able to send and receive information to other devices. Your printer, headphones, microphone, and mouse, for example, would not be able to work with your computer. So what's the difference between a device and a gadget? Device and gadget have similar meanings, and we often use the terms interchangeably. If I don't remember the name of something, I'll use the word gadget. Yet we don't use the word gadget for large things. I could refer to a large pump as a device, but not a gadget. Gadgets tend to be small and innovative. Medical devices. Any type of machine, apparatus, instrument, or implant used in healthcare is a medical device. We use the term medical device for a wide range of products, from MRI scanners to surgical masks. Computers, software, and reagents used in human and animal medicine are commonly referred to as medical devices. In hospitals, hundreds of different medical devices help healthcare professionals treat their patients. Thank you for watching this brief video on devices.
Now class, let us discuss about the 10 geographical devices one by one. Number 1 is planimeter. It is a tabletop instrument used to measure areas of irregular regions on a map or photograph, and this is how a planimeter looks like. The second one is theodolite. It is a surveying instrument with a rotating telescope for measuring horizontal and vertical angles. So we have single laser, double laser, and green light upgrade. Number 3 class is stereoscope. It is a viewing device which allows users to create a three-dimensional image from a set of two-dimensional photographs or drawings. So this is how a stereoscope looks like. Number 4 is pantograph. It is an instrument for magnifying or copying a drawing, map, or plan on a different scale by a system of hinged and jointed rods. So this is how a pantograph looks like. Number 5 is aerovane. It indicates both the wind direction and wind speed or the wind velocity. It is shaped like an airplane. So this is how an aerovane looks like. Number 6 is thermometer. It is used to measure temperature. So this is how a thermometer looks like. Number 7 is rain gauge. It is a device for collecting and measuring the amount of rainfall, and this is how it looks like. Number 8 class is barometer. It is an instrument used to measure atmospheric pressure, especially in forecasting the weather and determining altitude, and this is how a barometer looks like. There are two types of barometer. Let's discuss them one by one. So the first one is aneroid barometer, and this is how it looks like. It is an instrument used for measuring pressure as a method that does not involve liquid. And the second type of barometer is mercury barometer. It is a barometer with a column of mercury whose height varies according to the atmospheric pressure. Number 9 class is psychrometer, and this is how a psychrometer looks like. So dry bulb thermometer gives current air temperature. Thermometers are swung around handle. So when swung, water evaporates from the wick, cooling the wet bulb thermometer. Drier air results in lower temperature. So wick is dipped in water. Psychrometer is a hygrometer consisting of a wet bulb and a dry bulb thermometer. The difference in the two thermometer readings being used to determine atmospheric humidity. And the last one is wet and dry bulb thermometer. So this is how wet and dry bulb thermometer looks like. It is also a hygrometer, which is simply an instrument used to measure the relative humidity of the atmosphere.
Hi, I'm Emerald Robinson, and in this What Is video, we're going to answer the question, what is GPS? GPS is an acronym for Global Positioning System. Many people use the term GPS when referring to the receiver that's found in their car, but that's not entirely true. GPS is more accurately defined as a navigational system that relies on satellite signals to show an object's location. Although scientists have been working on satellite-based navigation systems since the 1950s, the current GPS system's predecessor was created in 1973. It was originally commissioned by the United States Department of Defense for use by the military. But during the 1980s, the government started permitting civilians to use the system. Devices that use GPS work by receiving signals from special satellites that orbit the Earth twice a day at an altitude of about 13,000 miles. A minimum number of 24 satellites are required for the GPS to function, but there are usually about 30 satellites circling the globe in case one fails. GPS satellites continually emit signals that state two pieces of information. 1, the current time, and 2, where exactly above the Earth the satellite is at that time. GPS receivers use this information to do a special calculation called triangulation. The receivers compare the time that the signal was sent from the satellite with the time that the signal was received. The difference in time indicates the distance between the receiver and the satellite. A GPS receiver needs to get signals from 3 satellites to calculate latitude and longitude. If it gets a signal from 4 satellites, it can also calculate altitude. GPS is used in many ways. Scientists use GPS to gather data about earthquakes. Surveyors use it to determine property lines, and businesses use it to track delivery vehicles. A valuable tool since its invention, GPS is changing the way we view the world.
For thousands of how-to and advice videos on any topic, visit monkeysee.com.
Now class, let us study about GPS or Geographical Positioning System. So what is GPS? The Global Positioning System or GPS is a satellite-based navigation system made up of a network of satellites placed into orbit by the U.S. Department of Defense. GPS was originally intended for military applications, but in the 1980s, the government made the system available for civilian use. GPS works in any weather conditions, anywhere in the world, 24 hours a day. So it is really very helpful when locating places. GPS satellites circle the Earth twice a day in a very precise orbit and transmit signal information to Earth. GPS receivers take this information and calculate the user's exact location. With the distance measurements from a few more satellites, the receiver can determine the user's positions and display it on the unit's electronic map. So a GPS receiver must be logged on to the signal of at least 3 satellites to calculate a 2D position, latitude and longitude, and track movement. Once the user's position has been determined, GPS unit can calculate other information like speed, bearing, track, trip, distance, and distance to destination. So this is how a GPS looks like if it's being navigated. So it is used to locate places. So as you can see, this is the satellite and it sends information to the one who is using the GPS.
Welcome to the Louisiana Sea Grant series on GIS learning. Lesson 1. What is GIS? GIS stands for Geographic Information System or Science, which means the physical world or space, information that has a location or place in space, and the technology and methods we use to analyze and map the places in space. There are 2 basic types of GIS information: raster, like pictures from satellites, which we call imagery, and vector, any information with geographic coordinates, which we'll call everything else for now. Let's start with raster, like pictures from satellites shot out into space. Satellites orbit the planet over and over, taking photos as they cross the surface, and send the pictures back down to Earth to be analyzed. We also use airplanes, helicopters, and even drones to get a closer look at things like land cover and elevation. From this information, or data, we can monitor things like deforestation and habitat loss over time. Infrared technology can show us urban hotspots, or places where buildings and streets are trapping heat. We monitor amounts and movement of pollution and help combat forest fires using real-time tracking across large areas. Now on to vectors, data about people, families, places, hunger and poverty, city planning and education, parks, zoos. Any information with a latitude, longitude, street address, or even zip code can be mapped and analyzed using points, lines, and polygons in GIS tools. Your property and home are mapped too. Even pet registrations require a physical address. Public safety, like traffic routes and accident reports, which are all tagged with the location. Crime mapping, urban expansion and industrialization to changes in land use and air quality over time. GIS can also be used to analyze the natural world, like ecosystems, plants, and animals. We use GIS to examine where and how the natural and built worlds meet, including natural resource management. Farmers use GIS to monitor farm production, and when things get stormy, emergency planners use GIS to plan for disasters in the future, search and rescue during a crisis, and damage assessment and recovery. All of the information in the world, from census data to public health, computer searches, and even shopping can be captured in a map. So can the natural systems, like ecosystem processes and farming, all get fed into databases or computer-stored information. That information is examined by an expert, or more likely a team of experts, who analyze the data and model the interactions and outcomes of different scenarios. They write the reports and produce their maps, which then go to other scientists, experts, and community members, who weigh the information, make the decisions, and start planning for the future. That's all there is to it. For more GIS learning presentations, visit lacgrant.org.
Now, class, let us discuss about GIS or Geographic Information System. So, a Geographic Information System or GIS is a system designed to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, and present all types of geographical data. A GIS provides a software tool to map and analyze objects on Earth. So, this is GIS. So, it transmit methods, data, people, software, and hardware. So this is how a GIS looks like when it is being navigated. Now class, there are key components of GIS. So a components of GIS are the following. A GIS constitutes of 5 components, namely documentation, hardware, software, data, and users. So these 5 components need to be in a balance to function any information system satisfactorily. So software, GIS applications, databases, operating system, other softwares. Data, vector, roster, descriptive like text and tables. Documentation, guides, procedures, specifications, and standards. So users, end users, administration, managers, GIS technicians. And the last one is hardware, computer and peripherals, networks and network devices, printing and image acquisition devices. So class, just to summarize the topics that we have just discussed. So first, geographical device. So we have different geographical device or geographical tools that are being used in studying geography. We also studied about GPS and GIS. So what is GPS and GIS? GPS stands for Global Positioning System. It is a device for measuring geographic coordinates at any location on the Earth at any time of the day. GIS stands for Geographic Information System, a database for maintaining and analyzing spatial features and the relationships between features as they are defined through geographic coordinates or measurements. Now class, for your activity, just click the link in the Google Classroom to answer the activity, but it looks like this. So following GPS direction, you have to play and listen to the sound to complete the directions. And after you answer letter A to G, click finish, click check my answer, screenshot your score, write your name, upload in social studies album in your line group. Good luck everyone! Class, we now come to the end of our online learning discussion. I hope you have learned something about geographical devices, GPS, and GIS today. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, please feel free to call me or send me a message in my personal line account and I will get back to you. Thank you very much and until next time. Goodbye, everyone.